Hey guys, so I want to come on here and talk about this story and really going over these stories gets a little bit redundant because this is just a white supremacist female doing what a white supremacist female does, which is spew out racism. It's interesting because when you watch Tariq's debate with Jared Taylor, he makes claims that, you know, and these melanin deficient demonic entities, he makes claims that they're somehow not obsessed with black people. But if you look at their actual interaction or their daily task, you will see that they actually do. It's like they eat, sleep, and breathe obsessing over black people, because this scenario that's occurring right here actually had nothing to do with a black person, but yet she finds a way to make it be about a black person. Even if you take the fact that she's referring to her neighbor, whatever her neighbor does doesn't have anything to do with this black person. So the fact that she makes it a black person, you have to understand the degree of obsession that they have, to the extent that they're not going to just allow black people to just go comfortably and live their life. Although this is redundant, it needs to be put in your face like multiple times, because the way that you condition somebody and you instill a belief in them is by repetition. So it may be repetitive, but people need to really understand the mindset of these white supremacists, specifically the white supremacist female, because the white supremacist female is one that, despite the fact that she gives birth to, raises, and indoctrinates the white supremacist male, a lot of people seem to exempt her from white supremacy. Now, of course, black females don't, but usually males, specifically black men, tend to exempt this very real enemy from the process of white supremacy. Although really, if you look at it in terms of like the nurturing of the system of white supremacy, you would see that she's most complicit in it. So I'm going to get to this video. And then really, to be honest, there's not too much commentary that would accompany it, because at the end of the day, this is just another white supremacist being who they are, and this is a mentality. But what I will say is that they wouldn't feel emboldened to do this if we would be responding appropriately. So let's get to the video, and then I'll get to some additional commentary.
You're just blocking my driveway.
You know what? You are fucking blocking the right of way of every car that passes down this road.
You are blocking my driveway
of every car that passes down this road.
You cannot block my driveway.
You cannot park in the street either. It's illegal. His car got hit, and the cop told us every car on this fucking street can get fucking ticketed. Yes, I use the word fucking if you haven't heard it before. Except your fucking son who dates a fucking nigger. Said it out loud.
Now, this is why I talk about the level of obsession that they have, because who he dates is irrelevant to the situation. This is a situation where it involves a person who, it's a parking dispute, so that wouldn't even have anything to do with anyone. But I want to go over the transcript so you guys can see what she said. I know that it's a little bit difficult to hear. The video is low in general. I tried to, put the microphone up there so you guys can hear it, but we'll go read the transcript. Now it says, the video of the confrontation filmed by Fenton is crystal clear. The argument turned particularly nasty when Cross showering him with 4-letter bombs. Okay, now Cross is this woman, and she ended up getting fired. You don't effing own the road, Cross is heard telling Fenton after he told her she is blocking the driveway. Cross then launches into a tirade about how street parking is illegal anyway, but the 66-year-old Fenton also parks there when the space is open. At the end of the 50-second video, Cross can be heard saying, yes, I used the word fuck if you haven't heard it before, except for your fucking son who's dating a nigger. Now, understand that none of this has anything to do with who's dating who, because again, this is a parking dispute. So you have to understand the mindset of these demonic entities and how it's literally stitched into the fabric of their DNA. Now, we could get on the fact of the matter of how you're in Florida, which is one of the most racist states in this country. All that seems to come out of there is hillbilly trash. But you have, unfortunately, Black people still dating them within the system of white supremacy. And this is, again, I'm not going to go into this tangent about swirling again, because I've already expressed continuously how ridiculous it is for Black people to even engage in these relationships. But you have to understand how these relationships are helping to maintain white supremacy. Now, the good thing is he put her out here again. This woman got fired. She's been fired as of Monday. It says that, you know, the Channel 7 producer has been suspended pending the station's investigation, but actually she was fired, and she was fired as of Monday. Okay, that's what the past article said, that she's been fired as of Monday. But what I really wish Black people would understand is that these demonic entities are not going to change. They are who they are. You don't even have to be a geneticist to understand that whatever somebody is, they can only really replicate it. And I say this over and over and over. So if you had a bunch of racist demonic entities, and I try to show you guys that it doesn't matter whether it's foreign or domestic, you're going to be dealing with the same thing. Doesn't matter where they are. Doesn't matter how old they are, when they were born. The reality is this is just who they are. This is who they always will be, and this is who they were. This is literally in their DNA. So at this point, when you have Black people ignoring this, this is you just wanting to live in a fantasy. Now, I get that, again, it's very difficult to grasp the concept of the system of white supremacy that you're in, because your mind can't comprehend or understand really their mentality. And it's not, and I don't want to say it's not your job to understand it. It's not your job to correct it, because the reality of it is you can't correct this for them. This is something that they really can't even change. At this point, it's more like an impulse, or rather, I'll say, than not so much of an impulse. This is just who they are. And the fact of the matter is, of course, she didn't know that she was being recorded, but that doesn't matter. If they will take any situation and turn it into a situation to be racially vile and negative towards Black people, that's just who they are. And Black people can really miss me with this whole all of them are not this way. And the reason why I say that is because, again, most communication is non-verbal. This is something that I really, really, really want Black people to understand. Most communication is nonverbal, okay? That means it's not what you're saying, it is what you're doing. It is by action, it is in body language, it's in what you silently support, it's what you're not fighting out against. And this is one of the things that gives white supremacists an advantage over us, because on Tariq's thing, he stated that white supremacists were smarter. It's not that they're smarter, it's that we're dumber. That's the thing. And just in saying somebody is dumber doesn't necessarily mean that the person that they're dumber than is smarter than them. Because you can have two retards, and one retard can be a little bit smarter than the other one. Case in point, autism versus Asperger's syndrome. Still both cognitive delays, but Asperger's is known as a high-functioning form of autism. But in comparison to regular society, they will still both be cognitively disadvantaged. Now, so just because white supremacists have a leg up over Black people does not mean that they're intelligent. It just means that they're behaving in a manner that is more intelligent than Black people. The reason they're more intelligent is because they're more calculated. They actually sit around, they're very observant, they get to know you. They're so obsessed with Black people that they eat, sleep, breathe Black people. Understand, she would not be making a situation that has nothing to do with, look, I don't know who my neighbors are dating. So just by way of the fact that she knows that her neighbors are dating a Black person, that means that Black person's presence caught her attention just by being Black. So now she's obsessed over this. Now she couldn't wait. She probably, all of her vitriol probably had nothing to do with him parking in that spot, but more of the fact that he had a Black woman around. This is a white man. If you think that white women are not jealous of when they see a Black woman dating a white man, you have another thing coming. But I digress, okay? Because the thing of it is what white supremacists do, they pay attention, they're very calculated. They will actually revisit mistakes that they've made, and they will modify them. Black people don't do this. While Black people can sit there and try to convince the world that not all of these demonic entities are the same, which they are, you just have simply choosing to be less vocal versus more vocal. But either way, if you're sitting in silent compliance with white supremacy, you still agree with it. That's called a non-verbal admission of support for the system of white supremacy. But they'll go back and look over areas where they've been wrong, and they'll make the necessary modifications and change things. Black people won't do that. While they're trying to convince the entire world, as you saw with Jared Taylor, that black people are genetically, all of them, because if you're not going to just have some black people being genetically, all black people are genetically linked in that they're black. So if our issues are connected to our genetics as a black person, that means all. So while white people, a lot of them, and you don't really have too many of them speaking out against this, but while they're trying to convince the world that you are genetically flawed and violent and a lost cause, and therefore something detrimental like extermination should be done to you, black people are steadily out here trying to convince people that not all white people are bad. This is one of the things that make them a lot smarter than you, because you don't see them advocating for black people like that. They'll either say nothing or they'll spew their racism. And either way, you're still in silent, you're still supporting it. The result is still the same, but this is what's making them smarter than black people. Black people sit around and try to figure out how they're in a system of white supremacy, but they'll literally take these cases and know that the majority of them are like this, but they will want you to treat the majority of white people as if they represent the entire, as if the minority of them who may or may not be racist. And I say may or may not be racist because they're not doing anything to change the system. They're not doing anything to ostracize and call out these people. But according to black people, all of them are not racist. So we'll just go with that. All of them are not racist. Why would you be on a mission to advocate for this group of people that's trying to destroy you? This is what means smarter versus dumber. They're not doing this for black people, but somehow black people cannot see that. They can't see it. And this is what's giving them a leg up, because while you're trying to play advocate for them, they're trying to get other people on board to destroy you. But you guys let me know what you think. Like it, comment on it. Let me know why, if you really believe that they are smarter than black people, or if black people are, if they are highly intelligent like they say, or are black people just dumb. That's just a reality of it. I'm interested to see your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'll see you in the next video.